Welcome back to Based MMA. I'm back with another video. UFC 304 just wrapped up, and what a weird card. I think it was a solid card. To be honest with you guys, this card was exactly what I expected, for better and for worse, which is why maybe I'm not as disappointed as some people are. And obviously, we're going to talk about the main event. Belal Muhammad defeats Leon Edwards by decision, dominates him, outstrikes him, outgrapples him. Just showed to be the better fighter, showed levels. There was no fluke involved. Belal Muhammad was the better fighter. And yes, I did pick Leon Edwards to win by a decision, 47-48, I believe, or 48-47. And as much as I want to come on here and say that I'm surprised by this outcome, I'm really not. I'm really not. Even though I picked Leon, and this is not a cope, I think there was valid reasons to pick Leon Edwards to win this fight, and I think that the way to beat Leon is exactly what Belal did, which is close the distance, don't give him range, pressure him, have the better cardio, have better boxing, and use your grappling. And that's exactly what Belal Muhammad did in this fight. I mean, his game plan was just perfectly executed, and Leon just had no answer. And Belal just showed all the things that I've been saying about Leon. He fights like an NPC. He has no sense of urgency. He doesn't have great boxing. He doesn't have great boxing defense. He doesn't have great cardio. He doesn't fight at a high pace. Like, everything that I've said about Leon, like all of my criticisms of him, have been valid. And to be totally honest with you, if you think about it, just the fact that Leon fought that terrible version of Colby Covington, it prepared him even worse going into this fight. The fact that Leon had such an easy fight against Colby just didn't help him going against this fight against Belal. And honestly, like I said, I'm not too surprised by this outcome. Obviously, it is shocking to see Belal Muhammad dominate Leon like that. That was one of the possibilities, and I feel like I give Belal Muhammad a lot of credit. Obviously, I did not pick him to win that fight. I said, look, Belal Muhammad hasn't fought in over a year. He's 36 years old. He's a little bit slow on the feet. I know he had been improving his striking, but in this fight, he showed that he improved even more from the last time we saw him. His boxing looked absolutely incredible. I mean, it's not top level boxing in the UFC, but good enough boxing. He's a good enough mixed martial artist. I mean, he's a great mixed martial artist to beat someone like Leon. Like, I always thought the person that was going to be able to beat Leon is going to be somebody that's going to be in his face, that has a power advantage. I even said like somebody like Shavkat Ramonov is somebody that has a great style to beat Leon. I thought, okay, maybe JDM could be a more difficult fight just because JDM is not going to be able to out-grapple someone like Leon. But I always thought someone like Shavkat Ramonov would be able to beat Leon Edwards. And to be honest with you, like I said, I probably should have given Belal Muhammad a little bit more credit. And obviously, when you predict these fights, you don't know how much the fighter is going to improve going into this fight. Like, I didn't know if Belal Muhammad was going to look rusty. You just never know, right? So, I'm not too surprised by this outcome. I'm super happy for Belal Muhammad. Like, I'm not like invested in either guy. Like, I'm not a big Leon fan. I'm not a big Belal fan. But I mean, you can't hate on a man's grind, and like Belal Muhammad deserves this. The fact that he was on a 10-fight win streak, the fact that he was denied his title shot last year when he deserved it a lot more than Colby Covington. You know, he had to wait all this time until July to finally get his title shot. And even this year, the UFC was still trying to mess up Belal Muhammad and, you know, steal his title shot by making Leon versus Makhachev or Leon versus Shavkat Ramonov for UFC 300. So even this year, like, the UFC was still trying to get rid of Belal and not really give him his deserved title shot. So it's absolutely incredible. Congratulations for Belal Muhammad. I mean, he executed his game plan perfectly. He looked good on the feet. He looked incredibly confident. The game plan was perfect. Like, when I saw Belal fight like that in the first round and win that first round, I knew that he was going to win that fight. Like, I was like, okay, Leon's not going to recover from this. Like, if Belal wins the first round, you're fucked. Like, you're absolutely fucked. Like, Leon's best rounds are those early rounds. Like, Leon is somebody that tends to slow down. If you think about it, his fight against Kamaru Usman, the trilogy, he did slow down in that fight, and he cheated a lot in that fight. Like, there was times where Kamaru Usman probably should have gotten the position, the takedown, rather than the point. Like, you know, like I said, I just think in theory, Belal Muhammad, you know, I just didn't think his striking was gonna look that good. I honestly think Belal Muhammad's striking and pressure is truly what made the difference. Like we've seen in Belal Muhammad's previous fights, like he kind of likes to be a little bit technical, to kind of kickbox at range, and he had the perfect game plan going into this fight. Like, I'm not gonna kickbox with you. We're gonna box. I'm gonna pressure you up against the fence. I'm not gonna give you any range. Like Leon Edwards was throwing his telegraph head kicks, and they weren't landing. They were getting blocked. So Leon Edwards is a fucking NPC. He tried to outgrapple Belal Muhammad, and it just did not work. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was a little bit worried when this fight went to the scorecard. So I was like, man, maybe they find a way to rob my boy Belal Muhammad from winning this title. Because I mean, you could probably give the fifth round to Leon. I would probably give it to Belal Muhammad, but I mean, that cut at the end of the fifth round was pretty bad. So Leon Edwards just basically only won the third round, and Belal Muhammad won the first, won the second, won the fourth, and they were pretty dominant rounds. And it's not like he just out-grappled Leon. Like, he was landing the better shots on the feet. He was landing the better combinations. His jab looked absolutely phenomenal, man. His jab looked absolutely incredible. So, like I said, I'm surprised, but I'm not really surprised by this outcome. Like I said, I always thought Leon Edwards is an NPC. I think he's a very high-level NPC. But if you're able to disrupt the program, he malfunctions, and that's exactly what happened here. And he just did not have the Hail Mary like he did against Kamaru Usman in the rematch. And Belal Muhammad, he's a champ, guys. He absolutely deserves it. He's the best fighter right now in the welterweight division. The fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to be very, very interesting. I mean, you definitely cannot underestimate Belal Muhammad. I mean, great game plan. The fact that he was training with Islam Makhachev, the Dagestanis, they knew their stuff. I mean, Belal just was so focused in there, man. He looked so focused in there. And I mean, I feel like there's not too much to say about this fight. The next fight was Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. Early stoppage. I thought it was an early stoppage. Maybe some of you guys would disagree. I don't really know what people have said online, but I thought it was an early stoppage. I don't think Curtis Blades was as hurt as the ref thought he was. Like, he got dropped, but he kind of like, he wasn't really stunned. He kind of tripped. He fell. Tom Aspinall was in a pretty dominant position, and maybe if a couple more punches would have landed, Blades could have been in a lot of trouble. But in the moment where the ref stopped it, it was a fucking early stoppage. And then Paddy Pimblett versus King Green, exactly like I told you guys. I told you that was one of my hot takes. Paddy Pimblett was going to finish King Green and was going to make it look easy, and that's exactly what happened. Because I told you guys, Bobby Green, he keeps his hands very low. He's slowed down a lot. He's a lot older. He's taken a lot of damage in his career. Yeah, he beat Jim Miller, but I mean, Paddy Pimblett is a very big lightweight. He looked massive there compared to Bobby Green, and you could tell Bobby Green was kind of like, I don't want to say scared, but he was definitely not in the mood to fight. Like, I feel like he felt Paddy Pimblett's aura, and he was like, I don't want any of that. So that's just my raw reaction to UFC 304. I mean, Arnold Allen put a pretty good performance. I'm just a little bit underwhelmed with the UFC right now. I don't know what it is, and it's not to do with Belal Muhammad winning the title. I mean, this is exactly what I expected from the main event, to be honest. Even if Leon Edwards was gonna win the fight, I was like, okay, maybe Leon just outstrikes him, wins 3 out of the 2 rounds. And I did think Belal Muhammad could win this fight, guys. I did see. Did I think this was gonna happen? No. But if there was a way that Belal Muhammad was gonna get this win, it was gonna be exactly like this. So that's my raw reaction, mostly for the main event. I'm probably gonna be talking about the card in another video. I want to know what you guys think, guys. I am a little bit tired. So there's probably things that I'm not remembering about the fight. But, I mean, just a perfectly executed game plan by Belal Muhammad. He improved a lot in his striking. His hands looked a lot faster. His jab looked absolutely incredible. And he was just walking down Leon Edwards. And I honestly think Belal Muhammad probably could have knocked him out, probably gotten a TKO up against the fence, but he probably didn't know how badly he had Leon Edwards with that uppercut and some of those exchanges. And he was just so focused on executing that game plan that he just wanted to go to the takedowns and just win by a decision. And he really broke Leon Edwards. Like, he really fucking broke him. And I mean, I don't know what Leon has said. He's probably going to come up with a bunch of excuses because, the fight, the time, the 5 a.m., what the fuck. Like, he's going to make a shit ton of excuses, but nothing will prepare him for Remember the Name.